Let's have a look at oneness and how hemispheric integration can allow you to experience that for yourself, and what the dramatic, profound impact could do for the entire globe if we all embarked upon this, but also why this will probably never happen. Firstly, when we talk about hemispheric integration, think about science, psychology, when they refer to people as a left brainer or a right brainer. When someone is predominantly using the left hemisphere of their brain, they are typically referred to as a logical person. When someone leans too much into this, or the brain on this side is more active, and a person never does anything about it to question it or actually pay attention to why they act this way, it can create a very rigid, questioning persona. But with that can come overthinking, so much overanalysis that creates the paralysis and a lot of internal conflict. And it's always questioning but never satisfied with an answer, which is also great. But you see how all of these things can become toxic. And what they essentially do, though, whether toxic or not, is create a separation internally from our surroundings. It's the same with the right brainers as well, though. These people can often have an ungrounded intuition, if you will, make lofty claims in things that are maybe a little bit too out of touch or surreal. And it can come with a lot of dissociative behavior as well, especially in spirituality. You know, these people can be concerningly away from daily life, but it's no different to the people who are left brainers. They can both be completely out of touch because it's that mind identification that allows somebody to remain feeling separate. But it's a distorted version of separation. We are literally fragmenting ourselves, our real self, when we live our life like this. Think of it, if you are always walking around, analyzing everything, you're never really going to have the presence and space to truly see everything that's going on around you. Or if you're always overthinking, imagine how exhausting that is going to be. And then imagine how out of touch you could become from becoming exhausted from that thing. And we can look at the other side of that. Imagine walking around all the time, only believing in fairy tales, and that nothing can truly be explained. It's going to be very hard to ground yourself in reality when you don't pay attention to reality, or you're always thinking of something away from here, right? See again how that would separate you from things. And then when you have these two types of people meet, imagine how much more separation that's going to cause between the two. And when somebody isn't paying attention to the default mode network, it just gets to run rampant and will only further feed the brain activity that you are more predisposed to or genetically dominated by, whatever we'd like to call it. Cool thing with meditation is it quietens the DMN. You can literally create neuroplasticity to rewire that thing. And when we start doing this with meditation, it allows the right and left brains to integrate. And that's when really, really cool things can start to happen. But again, we're going to keep this practical. Imagine being able to dance freely between your intuition and your logic, being equally creative and practical. Imagine what you could do with your life with that, right? And with that also, you would have a less fragmented persona. You would have less mind identification. But how does that lead into oneness, right? Well, with meditation, we activate the corpus callosum to integrate both sides of the brain. Amazing fucking thing. And with quietening the DMN, with the ability to create new neural pathways with this very thing, we can actively choose what to focus on and what to input into here. But as this process naturally unfolds, you'll quieten the parts of the brain that are responsible for the ego, the sense of self. We become less focused on our own selfish needs, but most importantly, we are not distorted by our own selfish needs. We still give a shit about what we need, taking care of our most basic needs, but again, it doesn't lead to addictive behavior, or at least significantly diminishes those. And when there is less time to be focused on yourself and your own needs, but still taking care of yourself, guess what? It makes you a better person for the people around you, more empathetic, more compassionate, and an urge to be part of something greater than yourself. Now, I was going to add in fancy visuals and something that demonstrated the neuro-linking in your brain, making it all link up. And funnily enough, the brain has hemispheres. There's something else does as well, and I think we call it the globe, Earth. It would have been really cool to have some fancy visuals where you see all of the dots connecting and the lines and everything linking up to truly create harmony in your brain between the left and right hemispheres. And then, to demonstrate how when each person did that, truly did their inner work, how they would start to connect with others differently around them across the globe. And if each person did the same thing, we would all feel that same connection and the same truth. And anybody watching this, I know you're going to have objections, so let's handle those. I'm not claiming it's my role or responsibility to convince anyone else to do this. I'm also not trying to convince anybody that I know the truth and this is my truth. But what I will say is anyone who truly embarks upon this journey, if you truly realize oneness and tap into source and be able to communicate from there, the realizations and the understandings that you will have, it's unquestionable. But most people don't see that through, and that's why when I talk about this, they think I'm fucking crazy. That truth isn't my truth that I share. It is the same truth that we all share. It's not my oneness, it's oneness. That truth isn't my truth. When that truth is realized, when it comes to war, harming others, all of that kind of thing, they would be nullified instantly. And this is where people will again switch off or just think I'm fucking nuts because it sounds so unfathomable. And that's also because most people will interpret this from the sense of self. And the sense of self typically will object and resist to spiritual truth that it hears. That's just the fucking way it is. And that's why this is likely to never ever happen. But it doesn't mean it isn't possible. And this is where hippies will get ridiculed for their peace and love motto, but there's still some truth in that. But again, it's misrepresented. If you truly tapped into oneness and realized it and experienced it, you wouldn't express anything other than peace and love. It's that simple. And if you think that truth and oneness are anything but those, then you might be missing the point. Who knows, I might be too, right? But when a sense of self is fully removed and we're truly coming from source, there would not be anything but unity, because that's all oneness is. I'll see you in the next video.